aisles people walk up and down. They also analyze based upon your loyalty card, what you buy, when you buy, where you buy it, and how you buy it. They also analyze what men buy versus what women buy. All that data exists today, and more is being collected. And heaven forbid you try to figure out what you're doing online. Every company that you deal with online has your digital footprint. What websites you've been to, what's your IP address, what device you're using. Last December, even before the Christmas holiday ended, companies were saying 70% of items being purchased online were being purchased from mobile devices.
Hello everyone. We're live, yes. Man, it's well. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever part of the world you are joining from. Excited to have you here. Kindly share the link with the groups that you are in. Kindly share the link with your networks. Today we're going to be having a preliminary discussion into the main meet. The main meet is coming next week, right? But then we want to give a tip of the iceberg of what is coming next week. So we're dealing on a topic that I term outsell your competitor in this EMBER month. Outsell your competitor in this EMBER month, and we want to see how you can be able to leverage data, leverage business data, leverage insights from data to be able to sell more than your competitors. And we do this because we are passionate about help. Sales and increase revenue. Now that's because large businesses, large corporations, they already understand what data brings to the table. They already understand how to properly mine data to stay ahead of the pack, stay ahead of competitors and all of that. But then here are small businesses, here are startups who basically do not understand how they can leverage data to their advantage, and as young people, we want to see how we can create that pathway for small businesses to be able to trend upon, right? Because we know that if small businesses do well, in a sense, we'll be able to address the level of poverty we have in rural communities, because most small businesses are situated in rural communities. You see large corporations, get their headquarters in cities, get their headquarters in metropolis, right? But small businesses are usually in rural communities, and they derive their labor force is also generated from the rural communities. So if they don't do well, it means that their labor will suffer. They won't have need for labor, and if they don't have need for labor, then that is when we start crying about unemployment, right? We start crying about people not being engaged in formal work, not being engaged in any opportunities, right? So if businesses can do well, I do say that we have 17.4 million SMEs in Nigeria and a lot more in some other emerging economies. And if we can help these businesses do well, 17.4 million, if we can help 17.4 million SMEs do well in such a way that they have a need for at least one staff, it means that we've effortlessly created 17.4 million jobs, or maybe in a round number 17 million jobs, right? But then we want to see how can they be able to leverage data. This session is going to last for just 25 minutes because it's just like a tip of the iceberg of what is about to come. So we just want to let you understand how we can leverage data. And with me here, I have a very powerful young man who is joining us from Spain. His name is Idowu Ilekura, who is a data scientist. He's a data scientist who has done a lot. He works hand in hand with Google to organize some of the Google events, TEDx events, Google Tech events in some of the communities that if they are not properly guided, they are so energetic that their energy can be deployed, to cause havoc in the community, to cause crisis in the communities. Youths are very energetic, and if you don't deploy their energy in the right manner, you might have them deploy their energy negatively. So this young man has been able to organize a lot of tech events, helping young people find alternative source of not just income but career path, right? So people can be able to start adopting technology, start delving into the tech space, because the future is tech. Irrespective of the industry you are in, health, we are seeing tech disrupt the health sector. We are seeing tech disrupt the financial technology sector. We are seeing tech disrupt the educational sector. So if you want to stay at the top of the pack, you need to be in the tech ecosystem. And we have a young man who is very, very vibrant in the tech ecosystem. And in the next 10-15 minutes, he's just going to be giving us a tip of iceberg about the background about data analysis, data science, and how businesses can leverage it. But ensure that by this time next week, in fact, subscribe to our channel so that you get notified, because that is when the big meat is going to be coming, right? So I have Idowu here. Ilekura is joining us from Spain. Hi Idowu, can you hear me?
Hi, how you doing? How's Nigeria? Hello, can you hear me?
Hi Idowu, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, clearly, Idowu, you're welcome. You're welcome. So Idowu, we have an audience here who are young people. Some of them are about to get started with the initiatives that they have. Some of them are business owners. Some of them are trying to pivot, their career path. But basically, the basis for this session is to help small businesses understand how they can leverage data to advance their businesses. And Idowu has been a very good friend. He has a slide, and I would like Idowu to just take the stage and do his thing in the next 10-15 minutes. Thank you, Idowu.
Okay.
You have
thank you very much, Ike. Hello, my name is Idowu Ilekura, a data scientist. I'm currently in Spain, though I'm Nigerian and I love Nigeria. But I'm currently in Spain. I've had the opportunity to work with several companies as data analyst, digital marketer, and the rest. So it's actually a privilege to be here to share ideas with young people and like minds, like I myself. So that's the thing. So we'll be speaking about how to outsell your competitors with data. And this is more like an introduction. So we'll be having the part 2. So I won't really be diving into all this stuff that I hear, but I will just be dropping some points. So Clive Umber says data is the new oil. I believe virtually every one of us know that Nigeria is an oil producing country. But now the world is shifting towards something called data. So what is this data? And then someone else, Thomas Redman, said, where there is data smoke, there is business fire. So, like where there's a smoke, you understand? Like if you're looking at a place and then you see smoke somewhere, you know that there's fire. So someone said, where there is data smoke, there is business fire. Someone said data is the new oil. And just imagine when oil was discovered in Nigeria. Nigeria was more like agricultural, was mostly into agriculture. But later on, when oil was developed and when oil was found, Nigeria started to boom, you understand, economically and in every area, you understand. So it shows that this data that we're talking about is actually very, very important. So I would like to show some stuff. I believe virtually every one of us have seen something like this sugar, St. Louis sugar. For those that are from Africa, I think this sugar is something that is common, you understand. And if you realize there's something about this sugar, this sugar has actually maintained its shape, the design for more than 20 years, you understand. I think while I was growing up, I took this sugar and this same sugar has actually maintained the same design. So, most times as business owners, people that are about to start a business, sometimes we just make some irrational decisions, you understand. Okay, like someone will say, if the users are not complaining, you shouldn't change anything, you understand. And how can you how will you know if your users are complaining or not? It is by getting data from them, by getting feedback. I feel the main issue that businesses have in Africa or Nigeria is we neglect the aspect of collecting feedbacks from customers. Even before you start your business, you understand, the time before you start your business, you should actually look at the data. What are people saying about your business? What are people saying about your product? Just imagine you're about to launch a product that people don't need. You understand? Imagine you are coming to a society where there is constant power and electricity, and you're coming to sell generator. You're coming to sell things that are not necessary. So even before you start your business, you need to look at what do people need? What is their want? What is their need? And how can you get this information? By conducting surveys. You have actually gotten data. So when you're looking at data, I don't want you to see it as something very big or something abstract. It's something that we encounter every day. You understand? So before people, it's just that in Africa, most times people just say, okay, I feel people like this, and then they launch it. And over the years, they spend money, they pump in money, pump money, and then after a while, the business crash. So I read of a story of the CEO of Udacity, Sebastian Tron. So he's actually into this startup where they fly more like a flying car, you understand? So just like Uber, but for people that fly, you understand? And this man has pumped a lot of money into it, but he's about to bankrupt, you understand? Because lack of data. So most times people just launch things and then they feel like, oh, the world is moving towards this stuff, then let me do it. But is that what people need? You understand? So sometimes to study the environment, study what people are saying before you start your business. Run surveys, questionnaires, like go and ask them, what do they need? You understand? Don't just say, okay, these people need this, and then you just start it. You might see a need, but people might not see a need. You understand? You might actually say, okay, this thing is something that they need, but that is not what they need. It might just be something like a want. So I was listening to someone, and he was recounting his woes as a businessman, how he thought some things we like maybe this watermelon cutter. You understand? So there are some machines that can help you to cut your watermelon. So he tried to sell it to all these abokis, like all these guys that sell on the roadside. And he realized that he made a low turnout of sales. Why? Because he didn't ask, with these people, are they willing to pay extra? When you can just get your knife and cut your watermelon, why do I need to buy a machine of about 5,000 naira? What is my profit? What is my gain? So these are areas where people, before they launch your business or before you launch your business, you should look at the data. What is the data saying? You understand? So look at this now. So what now you have started your business, or let's assume you have started your business, you made a mistake before. Now you're trying to make remedy. So let's not dwell on the past. This is just for those that are yet to start. You understand? For those that are yet to start, you should look at data before you start your business. But for those that have started and they don't really want to blame themselves. So you need to look at when you are selling some stuff, don't just change your strategy because you feel it is not working. You need to get feedback from your customers. And this is something I realized that is lacking in Africa, you understand? We ignore customers, you understand? Your customers are saying some things. Your customers are saying some things. And if you are not listening to your customers will move to people who are listening to them. I don't know if you get. Yes, and sometimes we feel when people criticize us, then maybe they just hate us. No, some criticism are actually very, very good. It's not every time that people criticize you that you are doing something bad, or they just want to hate you. You understand? Sometimes we feel, oh, someone has an hatred against me, that's why they are complaining about me. No, can you listen to what they are saying? Okay, look at this sugar now. Nobody is complaining about the color. Nobody is complaining about the style. Just imagine if someone changes this without consulting the customers. What will happen to the sales? It will go down. You understand? So, and also, let's just go over the importance of data too. You understand? When you are running a business, sometimes I think maybe in Africa or Nigerians, I realize that only few businesses actually keep their data. You understand? Few people keep their data. What is the record? You understand? Few people keep their record. So how much sales have you made in a year? You understand? And sometimes people just feel a business crashing is because of maybe village people, because of witches and wizards, because we are religious. You understand? Sometimes we feel, oh, the reason why my business is crashing is because there's someone that hates me somewhere or something like that. You understand? Whereas it is not true. You understand? There are salient points that we actually ignore that lead us to crashing, that leads businesses to crash. So take, for instance, you sell something, and then from your data, you realize that, let's assume 1,000 people patronize you. Later on, it dropped to 900. But because it's more like crowd, you understand, it's hard for you to realize that, okay, 100 persons have left your store if you are not keeping track of records. If you're not keeping track of people that came to your store to buy some stuff. So from 1,000 to 900, where to you, business is still going, you're still seeing money, you're still buying stuff, and everything is nice. From there, from 900, it goes down to 800. Normal, it's still like a crowd. It's very difficult for you to picture that, okay, you are losing customers, you understand? From 800 to 700, from 700 to 600, to 500, and then once it's at 200, when your customers are now, the number is now at 200, you now realize that, oh, I've lost a lot of customers. You understand? And by then, it's actually very difficult for you to regain them again. You understand? Whereas you have lost about 800 from 1,000 to 200. That is when it's now becoming visible to you that, oh, I've lost a lot of customers. That is because we are not keeping track of records. You understand? You sell some stuff. Do you have a place where you record your sales? You understand? Sometimes people do business as if it's just, they just do the business for business sake. No, they don't account for anything. They don't track anything, no record to track and the rest. And then when the business fails, they start looking at one uncle from the village or someone from the city or their friends. It's easy for us to blame people than to blame ourselves. So with the data that you have of your customers, you can easily know that, okay, someone that is very smart, when you lose one customer, you know that you have lost something. Okay, let me just give an instance. As a Christian, there was a story that Jesus said, and it was more like there was a shepherd. You understand? He lost one sheep and he had to run after it. That is because that shepherd was more meticulous. He knew that, okay, one of his sheep is lost. Out of 199, one was lost, and he went after it. But if you are not meticulous, before you know it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 customers have gone, 100 have gone, 800, and it's now 200. That is when you now realize that, oh, I've been making mistakes. But this data is actually there, but we are not collecting this information. So that is about collection of information. And then the next one is about your revenue. About revenue, you understand? So most times we kind of ignore figures too, you understand? People are not keeping track of what their earnings, their revenues, you understand? So you have made 100 million, and then how much have you made the next month? Can you compare side by side? Are you making sales? Which store is making more sales? You understand? Which store is giving you more sales? Where are you getting your revenue from? You understand? The truth is you can actually be making more sales and not be making revenue. That's the truth. Like you can be selling a lot of products, but you can be losing. That is because if you don't know what is happening, you are not keeping track of records, you'll probably be selling a lot of things. You are selling, but you just realize that you are not making profit. That is because you're just selling. So now what you need to do is to look at how can you quantify your loss. You understand? If you can actually do a lot of impact assessment, look at what is happening, you can know that, okay, something is wrong somewhere. And then you can easily know that, okay, I should be able to focus on this product. So let's give an instance. Imagine someone who is selling maybe an expensive product in a school environment. These are students, you understand? Students don't really have a lot of money. So you need to understand what are the students buying? What do they really want to buy? Like, what is their interest? You understand? For students, mostly it will be provisions, food, and the rest. But you can't be selling a car close to a school environment or close to a college. People that will buy it, just few people, you understand? You can't be selling provision in highbrow areas, like areas where we have expensive people, we have people that are very wealthy, you understand? You can't be selling maybe cheap stuff over there. You understand? So with this data now, you can analyze your customers, you can segment them, do something like a customer segmentation, you understand? Okay, these are the categories of my customers. We have more students, we have less professionals. So what can we target? What can we sell to them? You understand? But if you don't have this information, if you don't analyze all this information, you just be selling. You can't sell to everybody, and that is the main issue that startups have. You understand? Want to be the main person that serves everybody? No, you can't. You understand? So you need to study your area with the data that you have. If you have started a business and you realize that you are not really making profit, what do you need to do? You need to look at what you are doing, get data, get feedback from your customers. Look at what are they saying, what are the complaints, you understand? Sometimes customers are complaining, but most times we don't really take their concerns into consideration. And over the years we just lose them, you understand? So this is more like an example of how businesses are failing, you understand? Our businesses are failing because of lack of data. So imagine you have a website, and then you need to also analyze what are customers like, what is the content that draws them, you understand? So if you realize that a particular set of people, like maybe 90% of customers are drawn towards a particular area in your website, probably you need to optimize it. So that is basically everything about this stuff. And data analytics. Analyzing your data to get insights. Analyzing your data to get insights on what your customers need, you understand? Because if you know what your customers need, then you will be able to serve them properly. So the truth is, data is actually abundant, but we can't see it. You understand? So this will be more like an introduction, but data is abundant, but we can't see it. So I want you to probably sit down, look around you, and think about ways in which you can gather your data. I've mentioned surveys. Like, it's very, very important. Surveys, in Africa, we don't really do, you organize a program, you organize an event. People don't take surveys. You understand? We just assume everything is all right. What are people saying? Did you say something wrong? Maybe in the next event, how can you improve? You understand? So we need to improve. So get information, get data, survey your customers. Let them speak to you. Like, let there be an heart-to-heart discussion. Let them feel that compassion. Like, let them see that empathy that, okay, this person is not just selling this to me just to get my money. He is actually concerned about me. Imagine if someone is concerned about you, you want to also buy. You want to patronize that person because this is someone that is actually passionate about me. And how can you get their feedback? How can you get their concerns? Through surveys. You understand? So this information is actually around us. So instead of blaming someone for causing your downfall, you need to look around. What are you doing? What is a mistake? Am I making a mistake? You understand? Sometimes you might be making a mistake. You understand? So you can be making mistakes and people just give you this feedback and, oh, I don't like this. We like this. Maybe your product is not targeting us properly. You understand? So these are ways that data is actually abundant, but we can't see it. Am I still?
Yeah. It's getting to the time to wind up.
Okay.
But I
So
can hear you clearly.
okay. So in conclusion, though, we'll be having another part too. In conclusion, I just want to hammer on this because I realized that while I was in Nigeria, I see that most companies, like, they don't really do survey. They don't even ask about me, about my whereabouts. They don't even ask how am I feeling about their products. You understand? They just want to take my money, and I'm like, are you serious? So the best way to actually win over your competitor is to show empathy towards your customers. Let them feel that heart-to-heart discussion. Let them see you as someone who cares and not someone who wants to take their money. Okay, look at MTN. MTN tells you everywhere you go. Look at Glo. Look at all these brands. Like they create this kind of they create this kind of there's a way they create something and you're like, it's as if you are inside. So if you don't want to patronize them, it's as if you are doing yourself evil or you are harming yourself. You understand? So there's a way there's a way they just made it like you'll be willing to buy, you'll be willing to patronize them because they make you feel like a community. You understand? If you need to build a community around your customers, do it. If you need to build a community around your customers, build those stuff. So through that community, you can get their feedback, analyze their information, get what they are saying about you. That's the thing. So please, as startup owners, don't make irrational decisions. You understand? People just make it just and then that takes me back to the first quote. It says, data is the new oil. Where there is data smoke, there is business fire. So where there is data smoke, when you have collected your data, you analyze it, there is business fire. Your business will always move forward. When you have been able to collect this data, you have been able to analyze it, there will be business fire. That by Thomas Redman. So please, if you're a startup owner, please ensure you, like, I'm heavy on you collecting feedbacks from your customers. If that is the only thing you are going to take from this webinar for today, please get their feedback. Before you look at other stuff, get their feedback. What are you doing wrong? What are you doing wrong? Like, what do they need? Maybe people that patronize you are people that maybe are disabled, you understand? And then you don't really provide maybe the entrance to your shop or to your store is more like a staircase. How do you want disabled people to come in? You understand? So you are losing customers because, and then your competitor has provided a way for disabled people to enter. You understand? So you need to get feedback from people. Let them see that you love them. Like, you are not here to collect their money, but you actually care for them. And if someone sees that you care for them, they will want to throw their money on you. So I think I will stop here, Ike, in case of any question.
Thank you so much, Idowu, for such a very wonderful. I mean, this. I'm just imagining what will come in when we begin the main session. You made mention of empathy, showing empathy, and like I related with it so well because sometimes people want to buy when they're emotionally attached to, especially when there are two products. This one is a good product, this one is a good product, but when they know that yes, quality is not compromised, they might want to now go for the one they have emotional attachment for, maybe the one that checks up on them. I wanted to ask, Spain, businesses in Spain, are they big in customer feedback, so carrying out survey and all of that?
Okay, although I've only spent a few months in Spain. Yeah, sure. Okay. So I think I have an app where I order for some stuff, and then I receive some messages from them. Like, I receive messages from them, and sometimes they ask about me. They ask about ask some questions that are related to me. So I think they are heavy on it too. They are heavy on it. I don't know if you get. Did I answer the question? Hello. So for some of the applications that I use, they actually care about me. Yeah, I think they also send some surveys. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I've seen some surveys from them. Although most times I ignore it, but I have seen surveys from them, and then there's a way they create this connection too. There's a way they create this connection by asking about.
That's interesting. I hope That's interesting. I hope.
Hello.
Yeah. That was network. So I hope African businesses begin to adopt these insights you've given. Bringing empathy into the game, carrying out surveys, receiving feedback, and also innovating around the feedback. And there's one important point you mentioned: building community around customers. Like, you see, that one is a killer, because sometimes it is how they feel in that when they are in that community that even make them buy. How they feel. That's why when you see some crypto projects and all of that, one of the first things they do is that they build community.
Yeah.
Because it's in that community, one, there is safety, there is a lot of information. You have a place to run back to when you are confused and all of that. So that community thing is a very, you've laid a very great foundation for what is about to come. And I'd like to thank you so much for joining us all the way from Spain to speak to young people who are based in Africa and emerging economies. Just
Do you have
in
any
case,
question from anybody?
No, I don't have any question from anybody. But I have also told them to send in their questions. Let me also drop it in the chat. I'll drop it in the chat after now. Do well to send in your questions. If you are maybe watching the pre-recorded version, maybe you just stumbled on this and you are watching the pre-recorded version on any of our pages, please do well to send in your questions on the comment section. We're going to go through the comment section ahead of next week. Remember, it's 1 p.m. on Sunday. So send in your questions. We're going to address it just in case you didn't join us live while we had our guest speaker. So I've just dropped it. Kindly send in your question for next session, same time, same topic. We want to help small businesses outsell their competitors leveraging data. And we have with us someone who over the years has been able to, show capacity, show intellectual sagacity in the world of data and how data can be leveraged to help businesses grow and earn more. There's also a part of data I would have loved him to talk about, but it's not under the scope of our topic, where you get to give young people kind of a decluttered, because sometimes when people want to vent into or go into tech, it appears so complex, it appears so confusing. So we can have like kind of a decluttered guide or pathway to entering into in the tech career, the data science career. But that is not on.
I will add it to my slide for next week. So
all right. Okay, that's no problem. Yeah. All right, thank you so much, Idowu. Thank you to our listeners, our viewers. My name is Emmanuel Ohanwe, the marketing assistant at Expaat Tv and the convener at Indaba Global. I also have with me here our guest, Ilekura Idowu, who is pursuing an advanced program in Spain. And we'd like to say thank you so much for joining us in this talk. This is just like the John the Baptist version of, the Savior that is about to come. So if I'm to make that explanation in that way, so this is more like a pre-foundational course for the main course that is about to come. So thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you. Drop your questions if you have your questions. If you are just watching the recorded version and you have your questions regarding how you can leverage data as a business person, how you can leverage data as someone who maybe you have a venture, it could be a for-profit or a not-for-profit venture, how you can leverage data to stay ahead of trends, to stay ahead of your competitors, to sell more and be able to do more. Thank you so much for joining us. And I don't know if you have any parting word. I want to tell them bye, but if you have any parting words for them.
Okay, so my parting word is just like a summary of what I've said. Please ensure you a community around your customers, get their feedback. Like, don't treat your customers as trash. Like, get their feedback, let them feel that empathy. So, feel that connection. Thank you. I think I'm done.
Right. Thank you so much, Ido. So, it's been a great time with you on this Expaat TV, and I'd like to say thank you for honoring our invitation, and we hope to see you next week. Thank you and bye.